Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast of Pass and Disciplines. Tonight we'll be discussing the magical gaze. I'd like to welcome all of you. Tonight I'll be joined by my mentor, teacher, and brother. So give us a few seconds while I get everybody inside the chat, and we'll start. Yes, first and foremost, what is the magical gaze? It is a technique that I think many of us use. We just know it by different names. In a sense, it can be considered a form of meditation, a form of visuals, but it's also a form of a way to project in our thoughts to someone and read their thoughts and communicate as well. It has many applications. And the best way to hone this little skill in is to use it or treat it at first as a kind of like a meditation, so to speak. If you guys would like, there's a little visual technique you can create to practice on, even though I find it much easier doing it another way. You could draw a circle. Try to find a make it bright yellow, and then in the center of the circle, create another little circle and draw that black for a visualization-wise. Although I think it's much easier to do it the other way. The next time you find yourself sitting in a movie theater, bus station, train, or airplane, or just doing like I just did, losing everything that I've got written down, since it's not too often I actually work from my notes. Let alone read from them. There we go. Or anywhere in particular, in general, doesn't matter. Gaze at the back of someone's head. The best spot to gaze is the back of the neck, or what is also called the death chakra. Center, just above where the backbone starts. Do this until your target either turns around scratches his or her neck, or wiggles around nervously. Then try it again on a new person. Experiment with various distances, of course. You can try this out as well to get someone's attention. That is just the kind of the first aspect. What are we essentially doing? Visualize a cone going from your cone funnel, going from your third eye to that particular part of their neck. And since we're just practicing, we're targeting the back of the neck. It's a little bit easier. Later, you're going to learn that we can actually target and hit their third eye and have the same. But when we do that, then we're able to form a connection to where we can communicate, project images, thoughts. And it can work both ways. Once you've mastered this technique to your own satisfaction, try looking right through the target people as though they were made of glass by staring through the same spot on the back of the neck. At first, you'll be doing this with eyes open, but later they'll be heavily closed, half closed, or even closed entirely. This method will be even more effective if you thoroughly train your eyes in this technique of fixation, which is important for further work with a magical gaze anyway. To do so, use the fixation circle pictured above, the one I just had described in the beginning. A bright yellow circle with another circle in the center that is black. In any case, we recommend that you color in the circle with pale yellow and make sure the dot in the center is still clearly distanced, since it's the most important part. Hang the fixation chart at eye level and on a bare wall. The best is pure white or black background with no patterns. And 5 to 6 feet away, on a comfortable chair in the good God posture, which would be the full lotus or half lotus, Burmese position, or whatever is comfortable for you, or just sitting there sitting straight up. If you have experience with the half lotus, dragon, or lotus positions, you can sit on the floor instead. With your eyes half closed, breathe deeply for a few minutes. This would go back to using some of the breathing techniques I described yesterday in my meditation video. Now open your eyes all the way and gaze at the dot in the center of the circle with your eyes stiffly open wide. without letting your eyelids touch. Gaze at this until your eyes begin to water, then close them. And place the palms of your hands slightly clasped over your eyes and apply slight pressure to the lids and by pressing, so-called palming. This relaxes your eyes, so you can try again. Basically, it resets. Helps you reset and remove the image that is now blazoned into your mind. Well, nice to know my mic was muted. So I guess we go back and redo this. I know what happens when I jump from one chat to another. So I'm not sure how long the mic was muted, so I'll just start over. The magical gaze is an awesome technique, guys. Like I said, it's been butcherized, labeled, and many things. But it's an awesome practice that as I break it down, you guys will see it has many more effects than what the common known, as it was commonly called, the evil gaze or the evil eye, or intentions for manipulating people. There's a practical focus and a practical use, an important use for this, which goes back into how some of the things I've been discussing of late, dealing with sigils, seals, symbols, dealing with everything we do, we can apply this technique to glean information. So I'm not sure when I pause my mic, so if I repeat anything, just forgive me, we'll just start from here. So what I'd like you to do is picture a circle, pale yellow. Inside that circle, another circle in the center that is black. We're going to use this for a visualization technique. So, the next time you find yourself sitting in a movie theater, bus station, train, or anywhere, gaze at the back of someone's head. The best spot to gaze at is the back of the neck, or the death chakra, center just above where the backbone starts. Do this until the target either turns around, scratches his or her neck, or wiggles around nervously. Then try it again on a new person. Experiment with various distances. Of course, you can try this out as well to get someone's attention. It works great for getting someone's attention. Hello, Rob. Welcome. Don't do what I did and have the mic paused for half the discussion that I already covered. Once you've mastered this technique to your own satisfaction, try looking right through the target person as though they were made of glass. By staring through the same spot on the back of the neck, at first you'll be doing this with your eyes open, but later they'll be half closed or even closed entirely. This method will be even more effective if you thoroughly train your eyes in this technique of fixation, which is imperative for further work with the magical gaze. Anyway, to do so, use the fixation circle pictured above, or as I described. In any case, we recommend that you color in the circle with a pale yellow and make sure the dot in the center is still clearly distinct, since it's the most important part. Hang the fixation chart at eyes level on a bare wall. The best is a pure white or black background with no patterns. And it's 5 to 6 feet away on a comfortable chair in the God posture. If you have experience with the half lotus, dragon, or lotus positions, you can sit on the floor instead. Now, for those that are not sure what the God posture is, just sit straight up. Try to use a term other than taking your chair, but basically like you were sitting on a throne, a regal state. still at eye level from wherever you're setting. With your eyes closed, half closed, breathe deeply for a few minutes, in and out. For those that didn't catch my meditation video yesterday, I explained certain breathing techniques for meditation, such as using a 3-count method and a 5-count method and a 4-count method. Find the method that works for you, that allows you to reach the desired state of gnosis, or trance, if you'd like to call it. Now open your eyes all the way and gaze at the dot in the center of the circle. That would be the black dot, guys. With your eyes stiffly opened wide and your eyelids touch. Gaze at the circle, at the dot, until your eyes begin to water. Then close them and place the palms of your hands slightly cupped over your eyes and apply slight pressure to the lids by pressing, so-called palming. This relaxes your eyes so you can try again. Repeat the procedure at least 10 times. If you practice on a regular basis, daily is best. You'll soon be able to gaze for a longer period of time. Optimally, you should be able to gaze for an hour straight without the slightest twitching of your eyelids. Avoid overtaxation, because it does happen, to prevent eye damage. It's one of the things you slowly build up to. And for those of people that do practice sigil magic, seal work, you guys already know how to pretty much do this technique. You just probably didn't realize it was called this. Like I said, this has a very important use for many things, just not getting a person's attention. The skills developed with this technique can be applied to many things. It also is much more than just to train your magical gaze as a means of influencing others. It will also make working with the magical mirror easier. The famous evil eye has been one of the basic techniques used by witches and magicians for years. It was and still is feared from the North Pole to the South Pole. You've heard the expression, if looks could kill. Well, from a magician's point of view, they can, although only in sure cases. But they can also cause a lot of sustained damage. Nonetheless, it would be wrong to only look at the negative aspects of this practice, because it can be used just as well for healing, clairvoyance, and calming down over excited people or animals, whichever you may call them. The main reason why the magic gaze has such a bad reputation is probably due to the fact that its function has been basically unknown for such a long period of time, which is why I'm bringing it to light and explaining things that most people don't want explained and put out there. Because it is important that we know the truth, know how much we're hurting ourselves when we start putting labels, titles, and such a thing as positive, negative. Because it's pretty much like what I call the rubber band effect. You stretch the rubber band only so far, it's eventually going to snap back at you. And it's going to hurt, or sting, whatever. The point is because we cause ourselves to put obstacles and blocks. We kill the natural process, which the natural process is simple. Everything's a part of us. Every energy is a part of us. It's part of the universe. There's a duality to everything. We have both positive and negative flowing through us. When it's flowing properly in unison, no matter, then it's all about your intent. But when you start putting labels and stuff and focusing on one aspect and not the whole, is where you get the backlash. So we need to retrain our thoughts from so-called people such as David Griffin and many others who say, well, you do it this way, it's evil. No, there's no such thing, guys. It's your intent. They teach you and mislead you for who knows why. I mean, I could think of various reasons why. One, they're in charge, they're in power. They don't want to give up that power, and they don't want to share all their so-called secrets. Because if to do so, it allows you to become free. It allows you to become like you're supposed to. True practitioners. You see, begin to be able to see through the bullshit. That some of our leaders that we've put on high need to be brought down a few pedestals, because they're the reason we have all this division amongst our communities. It's also the reason why half our knowledge is being used against us now. Well, most of our knowledge and teachings are being used against us. My goal is to make you aware of these things so you start seeing the patterns, start seeing how they're affecting you. One cannot do that when you put too much faith in religious zealots right now, because that's what they are. We'll go into more detail about the actual use of the magical gaze. 1. Concentrating the power of thought and focusing on a specific thing. This exercise requires no target person, but serves as a technique for thought control in general. We practice the gaze for the sole purpose of monitoring the control of our thoughts. So, practice has shown repeatedly that a magical process is initiated in the subconscious by the mere focus of one's gaze. Compare the death posture technique used for charging a sigil, in which the eyes are focused to obtain the desired state of gnosis, necessary for charging, or necessary for, as I said, picture this as a funnel, or a spiral or a funnel coming from your third eye and penetrating the object. Therefore, we're allowing a transfer of information, a transfer of thoughts, being able to read thoughts and surface thoughts, to be able to project images to communicate. Two, transferring magical impulses to a target person without target's knowing in order to influence him or her. In cyber magic, this is really how we do it. When we teach others from great distances. This is how we transfer the information. Because remember, as I stated in cyber magic, information has no mass or energy. Therefore, it can be moved in a millisecond and transferred to the recipient, the receptacle. By changing the gaze with a statement of intent or command, making it the center of focus, the aura and chakras can be manipulated for healing purposes. However, the sequence previous mastering all the gaze is in order to work. We then enter a state of gnosis and transfer the command significantly imaginatively and semi-consciously to the target person. This can even go so far as to implant an exploding glyph into a victim's aura. An exploding glyph is a sigil designed either according to Spare's method or in any other way that's designed to trigger a self-destruction mechanism in that person. Figuratively speaking, it blows up. The opponent's force field from the inside. Since most operations for magically harming others are designed to attach the victim's immune system, the exploding glyph should contain a corresponding command injected into the target person or where it is anchored and then activated. By disconnection of the gaze. And reacting banishing. The example points out once again how neutral the techniques of magically actively are. So the same gaze can either heal or make someone sick. Three, diagnosing. Disguising one's state of mind and intentions. Looks are deceiving, or the eyes are the mirror to the soul. If we want to effectively hide our moods and intentions from others, we need to be able to masterfully disguise our own eyes by feigning a deceptive expression, friendly instead of grim. Alone is enough for successful controls. However, if our opponent is particularly sensitive, the situation may require strict thought control so that the other person cannot tap our true intentions by means of telepathy. To do so, I recommend activating a distracting and completely basically a blank train of thought that will act as an interferencing transmitter. In particularly strong emotions such as fear, anger, and happiness are quite difficult to disguise without this practice. The literal poker face. If a professional gambler is characterized not only by the complete control of focus, expressions, and fake muscles memory, but mainly by a rejecting, blocking experience that allows no insight into what's going on inside. This procedure could also be called an armored gaze. The mastering of such techniques can be significant use. For example, doing difficult business negotiations. You know, that's why magicians are hated at poker tables, because, well, most people need to hide. Yes, you can mirror your facial expressions, you can hide your tells well, but you can't hide your surface thoughts. You know, especially those are sensitive like empaths, they can read right through the BS. This is what helps train your awareness. You know, granted, a lot of these terms are used more in a magical warfare state. But in a sense, they're not, because if you look at it, there's always the opposite side of things. Being able to cause an exploding sigil to heal. Being able to transfer information, teach a person without even being nowhere around them. A lot of things with people that claim to call themselves flamites have little grasp on. The traditional flamites never knew each other. When they taught their students, they taught them via these techniques. The student would never know the teacher in a sense would never know the student in person. But it also, these techniques, what they do, they heighten your awareness. They help strip down the blocks that you've created. 4, practicing subtle energy and directing them as well as for clairvoyance. Generally, we use the 180-degree gaze for perceiving subtle energies, although some magicians prefer using the fixed magical gaze for this purpose. You need to find out for yourself what works best for you. Which, by doing the fixed magical gaze, learning it will help you as you start practicing with distance and changing perspective, changing environments. You'll start being able to widen your gaze to where you become being able to go to the 180 degree. Advance and practice more and more, and it becomes natural. And then it changes from 180 to 360. Because now you're reflecting off your bubble, or whatever you want to call it, your personal universe is now becoming a mirror and reflecting all things to your inner sight. Start to see and be aware of in a 360 degree form. Which, mind you, is not in my notes. That's something you learn over time.
I don't know.
Funny what you learn and when you go back over your old journals and stuff. And most of the times you don't even realize it until after you go back. Hence, like Crowley said, some of the best insightful knowledge is by going back over your work and rereading it. You would begin to learn more things that you missed that were within them because you weren't ready at that time to learn them. You need to find out for yourself what works best for you. Okay, I read that already. The goal here is the extension of your own range of perception for the purpose of manipulation or gazing into the future with a magic mirror or crystal ball, for example. Directing subtle energies, on the other hand, it's almost always done in a focused state. Often the fixed gaze is used for perceiving subtle energies by turning off the psychological sensor or the palace guard and creating a subtle creating a state of empty mind. Only when this is achieved should your switch to the 180 degrees. I'll give you another technique for doing that, which I briefly discussed in my meditation video yesterday. The candle and the void trick. I would suggest you guys go back and watch that one. I'm not going to re-break it down.
I ain't going to do it.
Five, scanning another person in order to determine his or her strengths and weakness. This goes back to what I said. A person should never have to ask you what grade you are or what level you're at. They should know. If you have to ask the question, you probably don't belong. The sixth scale can also be used for determining and diagnosing a situation. In heavy magical warfare, etc., before beginning a magical operation, first we sweep over the entire aura of the person using the 180-degree gaze in order to get a general overview where his or her strengths and weaknesses are, which is where people that hear me referring finding chinks in the armor, this is how it's done. Then we apply the fixed gaze to recognize more detail. But here too, of practice is worth a ton of theory. Practice seeing various things with a partner or any other person using both eye techniques and compare results. Which is also another saying, repetition, guys. The more we repeat the process, the more we practice it, the stronger we get. And eventually, like I said, you'll go from being able to do 180-degree gaze to 360 when you start realizing that your bubble aura or personal universe, as I like to call it, is nothing more than a two-way mirror that now reflects everything around you and transmits it to your sight, or your spiritual sight, your third eye. Then it allows you to start seeing more patterns, more things, more energies. You're becoming more aware. 6, extracting energy or information from the target person. By using your eyes like absorbing sponges, or like video cameras, guys, we can manipulate the aura and chakras of a target person by tapping his or her subtle energies, even causing the target to weaken until, although quite rare, completely emptied of odic force. I think that's what that word is.
Yes, it's odic force.
But this technique can also be used for extracting undesired energies, for exorcism or other similar purposes. Plus, we can also duplicate the conscious and unconscious information stored in a target person and transfer it into our own information memory. During an exorcism, an extremely rigid gaze is generally applied directly into the eyes or onto the Ajna chakra of the victim in order to break the resistance of his or her possessors. This is also the moment when the undesired energy or being withdrawn from the victim. Depending on the severity of possession, it may take several attempts that often requires weeks or even months of effect. The target's eyes usually begin to twitch when this is obtained to happen, which is usually accompanied by deep and jerking, involuntary movements. Turn your eyes into control stations of power, learning to play with your visual perceptions and see the spaces in between reality and in between concrete objects as well. Perceive things receptively and learn to actively emit looks of power. This is very powerful. It has been used, it has been used on me a bunch of times. But as you guys can see, this technique has multiple purposes, but it's not, you don't begin to be able to see the full effects of range until it starts becoming more trained to repetition. Now you'll be able to see, detect, view the elements that are actually causing a person to be sick. You'll be able to pinpoint and direct energies more efficiently, as well as information. I know for most people heard what I said, they're going to think, oh, that it's more of a magical warfare type thing. No, it's not. As I'm going to show you, what we do is when we project like that, or when we picture that cone going from our spiritual sight into another's, or into, say we're working on a sigil, we use this technique more than you realize. When we're viewing somebody's aura, we're actually using this technique. You know, like I said, it goes back to a person's intention. Yes, I use it to see a chink in a person's armor. Why? Because that's the spot where I will go implant and enter to start either healing, because, you know, person I don't really know, say I'm doing a healing thing for a friend, and I don't really know that person. The first thing I'm going to look for is their chink to begin, so I can start transmitting this energy to flow freely into them. So I'll find that spot and weaken it to where I can enter and flow the healing energy in. Eventually, they'll recognize it. Inner self will recognize it, and they will lower the defenses to where it just flows naturally instead of fighting it. Like I said, you also got to learn that the Palace Guard works both ways. Even for the person that you're intending to heal, it's going to recognize it, think instantly it might be a form of attack, when it's actually not. And I know some of you say, well, you should have got permission. Why? Is what I ask you. Would you get a person's permission that you do not know, who will not trust you because he doesn't know you or she doesn't know you? Do you think they're going to give you permission to do something? Or they might just have different beliefs and ideas. So therefore, use this method. You know, just like it's just becomes so much easier to, once you practice and understand it, you'll realize you do it all the time. When you snap into a certain state of mind because you feel somebody's been viewing you or something's around, this is your magical gaze working. It's working in either the 180 degree or, by this time, probably the 360 degrees if you noticed it. And now you're able to track it and pinpoint it. Now you're also able to disassemble the BS that might be in front of it to determine if this person really mean me harm, because you'll just skip past all that BS and go right straight to their real spark, their real energies, the one thing that you cannot manipulate and hide. And therefore you will see their true intentions. That's why I said I don't believe in auras, people that read auras, because what is colors? Nothing. Sky's purple, guys. You know, all of you guys would look, say it's not, it's blue. To me, it's purple. Today. Tomorrow it might be blue. And the day after, hey, it's white. See you guys? You know, the colors don't mean nothing. It's the energies that mean something. And yes, you guys will say, well, they're all properties of that color. Right, okay, go mistakenly use my altar, and because I don't use a white and black candle, I use something else, two other colors that just might happen to be laying around instead. Might just end up burning something that you're thinking is for blessings, and it's actually not. If you do not know how to read energies and interpret the energies of that, because like I said, as magicians, our job and goal is to take what we learn and create our own. Same with their signs, symbols, sigils, alphabets. It's just training wheels. The true art is creating your own. That way it has more meaning, more power. And the real true art is not having to do that, to be able to just think it and project it through a visual. That's where we go from working vocally or drawing to mental projection, mental thought, silence, the true meaning of silence. How I will train my student from a great distance to where we do not have to interact on a physical level. You know, it's parts that kills me with these so-called mites these days. You miss the teachings. You miss what the actual meaning of it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a place where once you reach that stage where all beliefs, realize these things were just mere training wheels, and realize what the true meaning of silence was. Could congregate no matter where they were in the world and project and transfer information back and forth without ever physical contact. When people like to use the greeting 93, 93, what is 93, guys? 9 and 3 is what? 10, 11, 12. 4, 2 and 4 is what? 6. What is 6? Something you guys should actually look up, figure out for yourselves. You know, just like the concept of meditation I gave yesterday. How I use the actual tree of life for my meditation. Going through each, walking the tree, going through each until I reach the top and project it out into the starry heavens and back and down through, and it comes back down all the way down to Malkuth and back off. But as I visualize that I'm walking back down, I'm also walking the Klipple off. I'm using both trees as above so below. It's a part of me. I'm harmonizing both and not giving any importance over one or the other because they are all a part of me. Now each of you have your own concept of ideas of that. There's nothing wrong with that. know the true facts, the real hidden truths. That you guys are actually hurting your own selves by the way you've been taught.
You dummies.
By when you put such labels and titles on things.
Post think for yourself, stupid.
I'm not giving you guys false information. I'm just teaching you from my learning experience. Things I've been taught, things that I've practiced and have experienced, and some things I've overlooked over the years or didn't quite understand. Because like I said, for most people, from what I just read to you guys out of my journal, will sound like it's more of a way to attack. It's not. It's training yourself to be able to read others, be more aware, to go from just a fixed gaze on one thing to be able to go to a 180. Then from the 180, you'll eventually go to a 360 as you learn. Then you'll start realizing that every little thing you've taught, your ritual tools, well, they're just properties to reach a certain state of mind, gnosis, to open the doors. And then when you start realizing that all the properties of that item is already inside of you, part of you, you no longer need the item. You are the item. That's also when you start realizing to break down such ideas on labels, titles. They have their place. The way you've been taught to restrict. They've been used by certain zealots to keep our communities divided and not allow them to, in a sense, see the true potentials of themselves, so where they may no longer need these groups and organizations. When they come to a realization we're all one, we're all part of the same thing, and in truth, we all practice the same thing. We just call it by different names, and we have different techniques and formulas to do it, but that's what makes us magicians, magic. That's what makes magic magic. We take it, and we make it a part of ourselves. Then if we do group work, we find a way to share it so everybody can do the technique in a unified way. No, there is no right or wrong path. They all lead to one point. You know, like me, I've learned that I do more and more on the mental side of things. I'm more on the cyber magic side of things now than I've ever been, just because through the repetition cycles. There's still stuff I need to keep working on. I ain't one of the best students. I do things my way, and it usually pisses off a teacher here and there. Especially when I'm not using all the tools that were gave me and taught to me.
The noose isn't for you, man.
But when I start using them, things happen like happened earlier this week. When I start giving this information to you guys, teaching you new things, new concepts, refreshing old ideas, bringing them to light, or basically teaching people to stop letting our tools be used against us, because that's what's happening. You see it all around us. For those that are starting to wake up and open their eyes and truly see, tools have been used against us, are being used against us on such a scale that it's not funny that it's time that, our so-called leaders should be doing what I'm doing, coming out and bringing all this stuff to the light, sharing the truths with you. instead of me being here like a broken record, or being removed from certain groups on Facebook because one of my videos said too much, or rubbed a couple people particularly the wrong way. Guys, when you do that, you just confirm what I'm doing. I'm doing the right thing when you do that. And you're telling others, hey, why'd you do that? Now you're telling others to go check out my work by just doing that. You guys haven't learned how this effect works. I mean, we all watched it through the election cycle. It has a tendency to backfire when you start blocking people, because now that they've caught a few videos, seen a few things, now they're going to wonder why where the person disappeared to. And they're going to go eventually find it. The energies will lead them right to where they need to be. In a sense, you guys are only hurting yourselves. When you do such things like that. Because, for one, I don't care. As long as I'm doing what I know I'm supposed to be doing, what I'm being led to do, that's all that matters. Because, one, as we've discussed before, this information is now out there. You can't quiet it. You can't shut it down. It's there for whoever is drawn to it, they'll find it. And more people are starting to find it. I'm not using the magical gaze. I'm not using my energies. I'm just letting things flow naturally as I feel I'm directed towards and led to do. So I might rub a few people the wrong way. Boo-hoo. Get over it.
Amen.
Because I'm just doing what you were supposed to do anyway. It's the only time I'm directed to do anything, when somebody else is supposed to be doing it and they're not doing it. So in a sense, you guys are going to get the backlash from that yourself, because now you're just taking away my studies and growth. But then again, I'm being rewarded because I'm going back through some of this old stuff, learning new things, seeing things I missed. That's my reward. I'm still learning, and I'm sharing it as I learn. Like I said, you give me new tools, I'll use them. More people out there should be doing what I'm doing, using the platforms such as YouTube, and doing discussions, articles like this, enlightening people. The more we enlighten, the less they're going to be misled, deceived. And potentially maybe we can start healing some of this division within our communities. I mean, one way or the other, I stick around with like-minded people, and like-minded people are drawn to me. So, I mean, you guys can keep doing the same old thing, or you can realize the times and states we're living in. You can realize the fact that our tools are being used against us. Everywhere we look, I can point out the triggers that's been used against us, psychological aspects that have been used against us, every magical operation that we've used that's in our grimoires and our teachings, how they're being used. I've been able to point them out and show you the patterns of them. But I've also started showing you how we can start using these new tools that are there for us to inspire, create, inform. Some of the best magical sigil work right now that's being done is being done on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You guys it's in your face every day. The worst part of it is most of that is like how I described the exploding sigil. You see it, it's now burnt into your image, therefore it's now inside your bubble. And when you scroll past it, it explodes. releasing the information that was in that image. Therefore, now it is doing what? Oh, well, if you weren't aware, you missed it. You missed it, and I found that chink in your armor and allowed it in. So therefore, if it was a negative effect or a controlling effect mechanism, you're now being subjugated to those things. Instead, as soon as you scroll and it hits your little bubble, it instantly sends up a warning sign, and it throws up other defenses to block it. But then it allows you to read it and see what's there. Patterns. So now you've just, in a sense, reversed your magical gaze back on them. You've created a reflecting mirror to reflect it back. Therefore, it's not being charged from you. You know, a lot of people put these sigils up just to charge them. People find it interesting and intriguing. It's an awesome picture, or it's an awesome image, so they're going to share it with their friends being charged. But what you guys don't know, what was created into it. You know, what was my statement of intent that I made into an image? You can't see those things if you don't properly train as a magical gaze. The magical gaze, like I said, is a very powerful tool with many people on multiple levels. Allows me to interact with spirits in a safer way. Even if it's associated with chose, it allows me to perform a type of exorcism, exercising that negative or implanted thought of control out of you. What is happening, they're using this very same tool to charge sigils to trigger, or to cause exploding sigils to explode and control. It's just like going to a protest, hearing them enter those chants, how they chant them. Well, in a sense, what it's doing is creating a state of gnosis. Basically, the ones that are doing it become mindless puppets. They become the batteries. And as they start chanting, enter deeper states, that vibration starts resonating and affecting others like a chain reaction, causing them to enter the state of trance. Now, while they're in this state of gnosis that's actually being controlled by somebody else, they are now susceptible to possession. That's basically what happens. They are now possessed, being controlled like puppets to do the person's intent, whether it be to force chaos, force a false idea or belief, this is just one of many ways our tools are being used against us. You know, I guess it took me having to take a break from things, changing my environment, and to see these things, and I wasn't even seeing them then. It took another change in my environment to wake me up and realize what's been going on. And probably the multiple repeated uses that I'm not using the tools that was given to me. Like I said, sometimes slow learner, sometimes things don't sink in, sometimes I'm just too stubborn and set in my ways. I don't see that I'm not using my full potential. Well, like I said, that's changed. My thinking of things has changed a lot more. I do realize you can't save everyone, and not everyone's worth saving. Sounds mean, but it's the truth. And my message ain't for them. Plain and simple. My message is for those that are drawn to it, or that are led to it. My message isn't for the people that we've put and call as leaders of our communities. Because probably 90% of them don't want this message out there anyway. They're going to do anything in their power to shut it down. Well, you can't. One, it's already out there. The only way you can start doing that is jumping on and doing what I'm doing. And therefore, it's a win-win for me. Because now you're out there in the open, and other people are going to start seeing through your BS. I mean, like I said, I don't have to lift a finger to do anything anymore. Never have. I just had to learn to control everything that I did. And then I had to learn to overcome the fear to actually allow it to flow natural and be a part of my everyday life, like I claimed it to be. So yes, sometimes the young goldfish does learn lessons the hard way. He's got to swim for a while before it actually catches up and understanding becomes enlightenment. You know. Plus, I also find when you actually like doing something and it's fun, you get better results out of it anyway. I will admit, not all of us likes to hear the truth. In fact, most of us hate hearing the truth. Why? Because the truth does hurt. But what does that do? If it hurts, it's causing you to think. It's causing you to question, which is very important. That is the first step to awakening, the first step to understanding that you're being manipulated and controlled. When you start to question everything, so I tell you, shit, don't take anything I say with a grain of salt. Question, think, research, experiment. Because I'm not teaching you anything that's actually harmful. Harm. The only harm that's going to come is going to smash a few of your glass cottages of false ideas and beliefs that's set up there, which is a humbling experience. And not a vicious experience, as some would think. Guys, you give me a couple minutes. I am going to take a little break. I'll be right back. I'm not done with this discussion tonight. I'm sure that probably Rob would like to chime in here on a few things as well.
You can't hear me? Huh? Hmm.
Alright guys, I'm back.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Smiley? Hello.
And actually guys, I think I'm going to cover something else as well in this discussion. I've been touching on it, so I might as well cover some of it. I'll explain the reasons why we use the magical gaze. I'll actually explain some of its purposes. And I know that I was also discussing sigil magic the other day. So, there's a reason why I brought this up. I wanted to do the magical gaze. Because in sigil magic, we do use the magical gaze. We use it to charge the sigil. We use it to transfer information, the knowledge that's within inside the sigil, such as our planetary symbols. As well as seals, which, most people, when I say seals, think instantly they think of the, lesser keys of Solomon and the Jewish. But what they don't think of is is the modern day version of those, the memes. They don't realize how, because we are aware of these things, we just might not call it the magical gaze. We might call it the evil eye. Or we might call it something else. Everybody's got their own terminology for this. Spiritual sight. But I'm beginning to see more and more and more on Facebook, Twitter, these images that are charged, like I explained Monday, logos, ads. They're all a form of sigil or seal or symbol magic. I mean, you guys want a book for dummies on sigil magic? Check out anything by Austin Spare. 50% chaos magic. Actually, let me look it up. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. I guess I'm going to have to get. I'm going to stop sharing for a second, guys, until I make sure this is actually what I'm looking for. Okay, we'll just do this the other way. I guess I've been misquoting what the book's actually called. It's Chaos Magic. But yeah, guys, it's basically the Chaos Magic. He gives it to you right, plain text, how to do it, how to use it, without all the rules and laws that govern it. In a sense, for most people, they'd consider the Chaos Magician's Bible, which it's not, but it's simple. I mean, another good person on it is Grant Morrison. If you really want to know Chaos Magic, watch his video on Sigil Magic. He don't pull no punches. He does it right there in front of your face. Why am I bringing all this up? Because it's something that we're being faced with every day. I can take it clear down to protesters. The protesters that we see every day on TV now, with their signs that they are making. It's a form of sigil, symbol, and sigil, and sealed magic work. Like I said, our tools are being used against us. The person behind it, not the person that's making the signs, they don't realize it. They're just being led or drawn to use the signs, to make them, create them. They got an image that's implanted in their head from the people that's organizing these events. And therefore, they're creating their own visual sigils. We see it all day. They're called memes now. So how do we make a meme? All right, let me see if I can't find this site real quick. I'm going to keep this in a two-part process here, guys. Open a couple documents so I can actually work from. I'm going to teach you how to create a simple meme. Once everything loads, mind you, this is going to be very artistic. It's just to show you how it's done. I'm sure you guys understand the basic idea of how we make rune magic, using runes to create a statement of intent, or any statement of intent that we want to transfer into a magical alphabet or turn into a sigil or seal. Same process. So, I mean, simple one is this. Peace. So, we have only one repeating letter, so therefore it's P, E, A, C. Now I want to go one step farther with this. I want to drop the vowels. So now we only have peace. Either way is right, guys. I like, for this intents purpose, doing it this way. So now we come over here. And for everybody, we know the peace sign, which is just simple. It's this. Goes back to what I was showing with using the T. But now I want to use this. there I have a P and a backwards C. Simple. But I can go more elaborate. Now I can take the word P, bring up text. I got a text tool. And C. Now, go over here. Images can we represent for peace? Or let's put words to it. When we think of peace, what do we think? Well, there's the dove, represents peace. What else represents peace besides the peace symbol? Unity is a form of peace. So therefore, we'll jump to C. Well, and what terms do C represents peace? What can we project with the letter C to represent peace? Let's use community. We think when people think of community, they think peace. Peaceful community. Cool. What else? That could use C to represent peace. I would choose a word that I'm not good at breaking down. But let's just use that right there. Dove, unity, community. So now what we do, we go either draw our own images or find images. We find an image of a dove, something that represents unity or community. We start finding a way to make a collage, so to speak, combine the images and transfer them to change their meaning and purpose. But we've already committed the process of a sigil or a seal because we've broken this down. We now have, we make what we want to represent out of the P, which would be dove or unity. We take in the C, broke it down to thus far only community, but it could be air, creation. There's peace within creation. Now I can start getting more images to create an idea. Let's say now I decide I want to use the elf. Actually, more words. So now I have E. Earth. Which I use for A that could represent peace. Alignment. Which would allow me to a different image. Delete that. So now by using what I just created, in a sense, I'm going to show you something that I created that could represent that. Let's see here. Peace. In a sense, all I would have had to done is copy this. see. Here's another little trick that they don't tell you. As you guys can see, now I've just created a sigil. Created a sigil, a seal with the word peace. Peace is in the background, hidden, you cannot see, but yet my intent's there. It's that easy to create a meme, guys. My intent, I could write the whole intent out, whatever I wanted. Then I'll take the image corresponding to what I contribute to peace and implement and create the image. As you can see, I have the rings, basically the waves going out into infinity. I have it vibrating through everyone. Then you just take that image, you post it on Facebook, Twitter. You don't even have to say what it is, call it whatever. People like it, they'll start sharing it. People start charging it. Now you'll start seeing these rings from here coming about. The energy, the vibration is causing the frequency to, as it's being charged. So therefore now I'm calling for peace, unity in our community. What else am I calling for with this image? In the world, I'm also calling for clarity. Breaking the divisions. All that can be interpreted into this. That was my intent, the focus, the energies I put into it. So if I'd write out a statement of intent, then put this image over it and share it. And let everybody else do the work for me. To them, it might be just a cool image. To others, that actually know how to use the magical gaze, has perfected it to where they're seeing it, they'll see right through it. They'll see it's being charged, see and start reading the energy. And then instead, as through a mirror, so therefore it's not entering their sphere. Now they realize after seeing it, reading what it had tried to trigger, they'll see it, say, well, yeah, I want that. So therefore they'll allow the mirror to reflect that and enter and reverberate through them, by therefore spreading my message even farther. All through an image, guys, with very little work. This is why this is how our tools are being used against us. I mean, and I'm sure, I'm going to stop sharing here for a second, guys, but I'm sure I can refresh my Facebook page. I could scroll down here, I'm going to find 1 or 2, 3 memes or sigils. There's a good one. Why not? What better to share than a cult news network? American awakens, globalism is destroyed. Awesome meme with so much hidden behind it. the American eagle. Attacking a drone. So many ways this can be interpreted. And this, truthfully, this is the wrong way to interpret such a thing, which is why I kind of heightened the person that actually shared this name. But he seems to like to spread this through his community. And this is very deceptive because we have a drone with a camera on it. There's been an article going around how eagles and hawks are being trained to attack drones to limit people's free speech, or to record live events and show what's really going on. The censorship of truth. This is actually what this image is representing, not American Awakens. Destroyed? No, this is a form of globalism. Using our eagle that we consider, when we see the bald eagle, it represents the United States. This is a form of debauchery. We see the tether to the shackle on the eagle's leg. What's it doing? It is grasping and attacking the drone. It's suppressing and shackling a person's free speech, the ability to show you the truth. So yes, Mr. David Griffin, when you post things like this, you tell us who you really are. You want to suppress and keep things divided. That's what this image depicts. This is what this image is showing. The tether, or leash, shackle. The control. Why? Because only the eagles and birds, for those that have ever experienced ravens, hawks, or falcons for hunting sports, we tether them and shackle them. And we keep that tether on to remind them that they're being controlled. They're being manipulated. Like I said, we're being bombarded with this stuff all day, every hour we're on our computers. Someone that should know better, that should know these things, is sharing these things. But yet, if he would have presentation of what it means, it's not an American Awakening, globalism destroyed. It's showing globalism destroying those that want to bring the truth, those that want to unite and bring peace. So this is being shared. So you've got, I can't see how many it usually says. But I mean, they're all over. Different types of memes. People using images to sell their thing. Or this video, which I'm not going to hit play on. It's another one. There's a couple other good ones on here. I mean, even funny things like this. When someone says, don't be anxious and your anxiety is cured, it can be a positive meme. You see somebody, an older guy that looks to be now happy. This is a form of sigil magic. Just like, well, nobody's actually like them. I'm going to go ahead and You know, oh, I loved it. So therefore, I've just applied my own energies to this. You know, actually, I thank Lauren for this one. This was actually a good one to depict. But then again, you know, we look at the colors. Look how everything's bright. You know, blue. Then you start breaking down the patterns in them. You also look how it looks like a slight glow, the way the lighting is around him. The more people that share this, the more to get out there, and the more people that it will trigger. I mean, I can scroll on in here. I'm not going to because some of my friends have a twisted sense of humor that I might not want to show some of those things. But I just had to show that one with the eagle. I mean, and that's from somebody that we consider in some of our communities as a leader, the so-called implementor. Yes, has a catchy saying, America awakens, globalism destroyed. But when you depict the image and the energies within the image that it's portraying, means no such thing. Slavery, the stripping of your free will, that's all from just one image. And I could probably go farther and farther. I looked at, I can bring up the eagle's feathering, how it's more black and white. Yet again, another form of division. Sorry, the bald eagles that I grew up accustomed to are gold, white hair, regal looking. Not something you would see with a tether to their talons or a shackle. As I say, we do this all the time. We're more subjugated to, I mean, I go to YouTube and I go to Twitter and it's even worse. Because, you know, hey, you limit me to 140 characters. Well, I can use less characters and get the same meaning by using an image and just, as I showed you, just write it out. Put your image over it. Find pictures that correlate to those images. Anyone can create a meme and they do it all the time. Then what happens when you put them out there for people that start sharing? They start sharing it. Therefore, that image begins to be charged. It begins to become like an explosive glyph, as I mentioned in the magical gaze. People see it where it explodes and triggers, and that imagery floats through them, basically subjugating and binding them. You know, honestly, I'm actually kind of appalled that he would actually post an image like that into his group, the Golden Dawn. You know, because, I mean, yeah, I understand. You want to control your followers. You don't want them to see the truth. Because if they start seeing the truth, one, they're not going to be following you much longer. Two, you are replaceable. Or three, we're just going to create our own new orders. You know, I don't talk much about the IoT in the pack. But I don't strip away from what they've actually done. The knowledge that they've opened up to everyone. Didn't matter. That's one of the things I loved about Peter Carroll and his concept for the IoT was a melting pot for everyone, no matter what your beliefs or practices. You are all taught the truths, taught enlightenment, taught to work together, to be able to take your practices and combine them with what others have taught, to realize that there's no division. Just because you call it this, drumming, or we call it spirit vision, the processes, the energies and vibrations are the same that create the process. This is why I did another reason I did the magical gaze. It's time to make you aware. As you read, you heard me say, quote, more the negative aspects, how it's been misused or mislabeled, because that's how it's written. They don't write what it's actually for. Because let's keep it real, most people are more inclined to want to learn the other thing first. That's what draws them to it. Only later, as they practice and do it, do they realize, and it triggers its true meaning and true potential and what its true use is. It's not to control or manipulate, not to attack. It's a process of being able to gather information from everywhere, from throughout the universe, apply how it's applied into our sigil, how we work sigil magic, how we work divination. It's teaching you to break away from material tools. To rely on your inner gifts, your inner tools, your real tools. To eventually, hey, now I realize I can use my computer screen or my TV screen and perform mirror magic, or use it as a focal point to reach out and transfer information to somebody else. Or charge an item. Or decharge an item. You guys want to know how to do that real quick? Oh, that's actually quite simple. Let me go back to that meme. My intention is already made. You heard me state what I've stated, what that means. So let's decharge it. Thank you, Facebook. You gave me an emote to do it. For most people, they think, oh, you're just mad at what the image is of the eagle attacking the drone. No, I'm mad and uncharging it because of what it portrays. Slavery, mind control. You see, guys, our tools, in a sense, have been used against us, been used and brought to light in new ways, to where people that aren't even awake and understanding what they're doing are using our tools. Like I said, once you learn how to use the tools and you become aware, we can play the same game there just on a different level by reversing the effects. Like I said, everything has an opposite. We just counter it with the opposite. You know, granted, just me doing that, it's not going to cause a major ripple effect. It takes more people. The more that awaken and see those things, as it says, America awakens, yes, let's awaken to what the image means. And the more people that that actually hit the anger button, little icon, or the sad icon, will now help redirect. You know, it's like I said, guys, we got to learn to actually rely on our inner abilities, our inner senses. We got to hone them. Yes, the magical gaze, best way to start honing it is to practice. Practice on anybody. Push them. Communicate with them. You know, project an image that is truthful, that's healing, things that will make them start to question some ideas, some beliefs. You planted the seed, now walk away. Go practice on somebody else. Maybe you, as you're practicing, then you'll start picking up, oh, that person that's not feeling well. Well, here, instead of projecting, let me project a healing thought. Let me help lift you up a bit. Let me be a good brother or sister to you. Need of that little boost. As a friend of mine's little share post, counter anxiety. Well, how was that labeled? I don't want to butcherize it. I'm going to use it as a statement that she shared. When someone says don't be anxious and your anxiety is cured, there's an intent there. There's a magical statement there if we so chose it to be. So I like people like her. She thinks outside the box. She finds things like this. Whether she consciously knows she's doing it, which I'm sure she does in some aspects, because I know her. But now you're channeling something positive just through an image. You know, not all things are done negatively. Just by having that image in my head now, because I've seen it, I can now project that to somebody that needs it, that might be anxious. I have a visual tool. Therefore, I had to use the magical gaze technique, or the way I use it now. It's no longer a gaze. It's 360 degrees. It is my personal universe. It's a mirror, a two-way mirror, and a reflecting mirror, viewing mirror, so to speak, a scrying mirror, that I can see the patterns, the energies, and view. In a sense, I'm in my own little protective bubble. I'm in my circle. I'm inside my magical circle, my magical fortress. So I can view it safely. That's why, like I said, I've been also doing the meditation series, teaching that because there's importance in it. One, it helps shut down the palace guard or sensor, whatever you want to call it, the little mother thing. It controls the flow of our subconscious to our unconscious and consciousness. But, sometimes it's got to be put to sleep to be able to work certain things. Sometimes it just gets in the way. Yes, it has a job to do, to protect us. But once we reach a certain point, its job is no longer, because everything should be flowing freely, so therefore the palace guard should no longer be guarding that flow. Now its job is to protect and guard for information that is being received from things that we see. Like I said, each step is a learning experience. Not everybody's on the same level. So I try to break it down on multiple levels from multiple viewpoints and ideas, allowing you to perceive and see things in many different ways. You know, so like sometimes I have Chris on here. He sees things a little bit different than I do. I learn from that, as you guys do. Sometimes he can put into terms, proper technical terms, technology-wise, in a better way than I can state it. You know, not all of us are word manipulating geniuses. Yes, I have a high vocabulary, which I tend not to use. But we do use it. We use it when we create images. You know, we use it when we are talking to people. I use it when I'm actually doing these videos with you. In a sense, I try to word things so you can actually see an image and visualize it, which is something I know I'm not great at unless I'm doing poetry. I'm still learning in that process to be able to take how I write to how I speak, to just eventually project that within my energy. How I can project the things I'm seeing in the patterns to others. Because sometimes it's not easy to put words to. Which I'm sure I've lost many people about, you know, once you start seeing the patterns, you can start seeing all the probabilities. For every choice, there's a probable outcome. Well, for every probable outcome, there's 1,000 probabilities. And each probability has 1,000 and 1,000. But eventually, you start seeing the patterns, and you start seeing through them, and you start removing a lot of the other probabilities to where you start getting a straight line, a straight path. It's taught in many different ways. The art of war describes it. People that are strategists, they see it as well and how they do. I mean, people that do crafts, once they learn their trade, they're able to fine-tune it to where they get the straightest path with the least resistance. But they don't realize they're actually training themselves to see the patterns. That's what repetition does. That's what practice does. That's what fine-tuning and honing the magical gaze, starting with a simple image of a circle, a pale yellow circle with a black distinct dot in the center, which is actually the most important. What you do, you stare at the dot. You take the dot, make the dot expand to where you don't see the yellow no more. Same way when we do charge our sigils or open our sigils and seals. We stare at it till it becomes nothing. The image disappears. Therefore, what have we done? We've connected the gateway or doorway. We shot up that cone from our third eye that we're not even thinking about doing, and allowing information to travel back and forth. information that was hidden within the image. Just like until it was actually pointed out to me. Yes, I've always said that KOTR is an acronym or a meme. It's mnemonics. The realms. But did I ever break it down farther into actually what it really means? No, I just knew it until Chris pointed it out. You know, if you look at, let me see here, let me share something else. You actually look at my KOTR's main page headers that I use for the open discussions and I use for as a main header. It actually is fully represented there. Of course, it's not in that folder. Oops. It's actually represented in what it's the saying that we say with it. Step into the realms of existence and follow me, which is what KOTR has always been about. No matter what I'm bringing to you, no matter what topic, in fact, I'm just going to break it down because I've actually didn't realize what I had done until now. If somebody had liked how was complimenting how I categorize things. We've always done with this realm. I don't think we ever realized fully until now what we had done with our images. I mean, granted, we're using the titles and stuff. Knowledge and principles, meditation, monthly correspondence. These are all different broadcasts that I do, part of KOTR. Past and disciplines, as we're doing tonight. Their imagery represents each. And what we discuss with them, they're all in the image. In a sense, I'm opening these realms of existence to you, the information and knowledge. Personal journeys, which I haven't done on KOTR. I've done it on my Drew Lima's channel, which I will start doing again on here because it's part of this. Poetry, not done. Future project. Everybody's familiar with Ramblings of the Chaotic Mind. The imagery says it all. Something I'm working on that I will probably actually work on a little bit more with Rob as well. I think you'll enjoy this one. See many of our communities that have discussed prepping and stuff like that. So I've created the Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Another thing, a part of Sons and Daughters of Liberty, which some may take offense because I used the stars and bars and combined it with the stars and stripes. But what did I do with that? Breaking away from the division, the combining of the two in unity. Separating the divide and making it whole is what this represents. Hence, sons and daughters of liberty. Well, I broke down that one. I showed you how to make that one. Tarot of the month. Divination in all its forms. The jewel in the third eye. Seeing through the illusions as it leaves way to the waters, the mountains, the plains. Truth portal, which I have not done on this channel yet. Everybody recognizes that symbol. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Sigil magic at its finest. Urban and folk legends. Yep, I plan on doing some work on that. But as you can see, everything KOTR is all depicted in different realms of information. Even our welcome as a portal into itself. Keeper. Books of knowledge. Information. Wisdom. Light from the darkness with a candle. Breathing life into itself in creation and made manifest. Wisdom on a whim. I don't think I need to break down the symbology there. I think you guys can all see it. Witch's rant. The opposite of my ramblings of the chaotic mind, which I'm actually looking for somebody that may want to do this one. I think it takes a different type of character that would want to do this one than me. For me, the ramblings of the chaotic mind is my rant. So anybody interested, hey, I've got a spot for you. And this one, my favorite. We are masters of our own reality. We are masters of information, creation, manifestation. Everything in the universe is a part of us, whether it be the cube, the circle. Like I said, I do things. I never realized what I had done. What me and Sweet Dark Angel had done. Some of these are her images that she's created for the magazine. But the one thing that's always been, and always will be, is each of them is a gateway, a portal to information. Each of them are a realm within themselves. I'm the gatekeeper, holding the keys, allowing you entrance into this realm. So yes, step into the realm of existence and follow me, if you dare. If you're willing to challenge your own mind, ideas, challenge the way you think and perceive things. If you want the truth, all you got to do is subscribe, like, share these videos with others. See what each of these broadcasts may hold and have for you. You know, because I'm not doing this for any gain or profit. My reward is learning with you guys, because as you guys start communicating, joining in the chat, Sharing your ideas, asking questions, we'll learn from each other and grow. That's the reward. Knowledge is meant to be free. Knowledge is meant to be taught and shared, not hidden behind oaths and vows of secrecy, as we've been programmed to believe. It's time that we take back our tools and quit letting others use our tools against us and manipulate us. So yes, this has turned into a rant. An important one that shows you how much is out there of our tools have been used against us, how the people that we so-called call leaders have done nothing but help divide us and keep us divided. The only place for secrecy is within the circle when performing a ritual. If you guys don't understand that, I'll break it down again. It's the simple, basic structures of magic. The less people that know, the easier it is to create the path with the least resistance. The easier way to create the greater success. Because if only ones in the circle know, and they know how to use the disbelief of chaos magic, a psychological aspect, to sever ties to where those people that they're friends with and acquainted with do not exist inside that circle, and all of them become as a one mind for one goal. Therefore, the chance of success is far greater with the least path of resistance. Then when you leave that circle, everything that took place is forgotten because your work is done. Your will is done. Therefore, it has already been made manifest. Creation has taken place. You walk away knowing that. That's what true secrecy means. Hence why we do not speak anything that takes place in the circle up the circle, because when we open our damn mouths, what happens? We have a potential to add obstacles and hindrances to take away from to make that path that was a straight and narrow one with the least resistance. We start adding resistance to it when we open our mouths. But once we're back into the community, we are free to discuss, talk, learn, teach, and share. We just don't share what we did in that ritual. When it becomes fully manifest and done, and the creation hasn't been achieved, then you can share your experience. Because why? It's done. It's already happened. It's already taken place. Therefore, now it is a learning experience that can be taught and shared with others. But until that full process comes about, it remains in secret. I know for many of you guys, you probably don't like what I just said, because it goes completely against what you've been taught. It confirms that some of the oaths you have taken were meant to hinder you, restrict you, subjugate you, enslave you. Much like the image I had showed you on Facebook. And there's no real reason or excuse for this, other than to control and not let you guys grow and become free thinkers of your own, creators of your own universe, to become gods and goddesses, to be that bright and shining star that you truly are. Because with that comes to realize we do not need people. We can do these things as a solitary individual person. Why? Because we're connected to all these things anyway. But like I said, everything has its time and place and a purpose. Sometimes we needed to have more people involved in the great work to strengthen it. So sometimes solidarity is not always the best. So when you have more minds alike working on the same outcome, same problem, same project for the great work, the stronger it becomes. The it becomes, the more powerful and truer and purer it becomes. Like-minded individuals to have the realization that they are a divine spark and that all energies in this universe and this earth is a part of them. There is no such thing as white, black, positive, negative. It's all one unified force. That is when you can practice true and pure magic. That's when you will shake the foundations and move and create. So for those that wish to continue to learn, all you have to do is quite simple. Step into the realms of existence and follow me. I will show you the way. I'll be the guardian at the door, the gatekeeper at the door, allowing you entrance into all these possible multiple realms of existence, filled with knowledge, information, and wisdom. But as you walk and traverse these realms, you'll start sharing and printing your own. And we'll be learning from each other. So therefore, I will be the student and you'll be the teacher. You'll be the keeper at the gate that is unlocking the doors for me. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's discussion. I know I had a few glitches and things there. But they had the time. Eventually I got around, got my point across, was able to get into the discussion, even though I had to restart it twice. But like I said, please guys, subscribe to the channel so you get updates when I go live. So I know I wasn't right on time tonight with being able to share the information that I was going live. So if you guys were subscribed and you clicked on the little bell check mark to receive notifications, you guys will know instantly as soon as I go live, you get a notification. And having to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes it takes to share all the links to the various groups and places I'm on. And please, when you're watching, share them as well. Like I said, the more people that interact and get involved, the more we learn, the more open our discussions become. The more truths and knowledge and wisdom that can be shared. It's time that we step outside of our boxes, guys. It's time that we become the true magicians that we say we are. And when I say magicians, that means it includes Wiccans, Druids, Satanists, Kabbalists, New Agers. In these realms, titles mean nothing. We are just individual entities sharing and learning from each other. We are a community of many, but of the all. Think on that one. But tomorrow night I'm taking a break maybe. I don't got nothing scheduled. Saturday is open discussion night, guys. All are welcome. All are welcome to share, discuss what you'd like, or ask questions of things that we've posted this week and previous weeks. I'm sure I'm going to cover a few things as well. I know Chris will. It's your guys' night. Every night's your guys' night. But this is more a night that's dedicated to you guys, to ask your questions on any topic. Bring up topics. Topics that I haven't discussed that you'd like to hear. And like I said, someday I have full intentions of revisiting and doing part 2 to sigils, seals, and symbols. I kind of got into it tonight a bit. Further, even more deeper into it on Sunday. So I wish you all good night. Thank you for watching.